when you get breached and it happens and you lose money and you lose all this stuff. Like, I don't want to hear it because you did nothing.
Well, it's not that I did nothing. It's just I skipped it that one time. I'd done everything.
I skipped it that one time.
Just the one time.
That reminds me of the conversation we had before we hit record. I didn't protect myself this one time.
Just that one time. And you know, it's...
Help me with hip-hop. Let's get it right. Protect your patience. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with hip-hop. Let's get it right.
All right, today we're going to talk about the things that nobody talks about. If you're a nobody, then you don't talk about. Or maybe you do talk about. Because we're somebodies we will talk about. I don't know how that works. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about security awareness problem. And why? Why is it still a problem? And we have some reports to go through and look at. And we'll do it with you so we can kind of dig into this mystery of why is security awareness training not working? And what we found may surprise you.
Or not.
Or not. Depends on if you're a nobody or a somebody. Well, I think it's important to lay down a little bit of groundwork. And we're going to go back to Donna's 3 rules of security. And if you're not familiar with what those are, the first one is that, number 1, security is not convenient. Right? I mean, if it was convenient, we'd all be doing it. And not only that, we probably wouldn't be complaining about it.
Well, you know, and you wouldn't have house keys and, you know, banks wouldn't be, you know, where you had to go. You wouldn't need a lot of things. So it's not just cybersecurity. Your doors unlocked. It's all security.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. But also in 2026, your second rule is that security is not really optional anymore. It's not optional at all. You got to have it. I mean, the bad guys don't care. Threats don't care. They don't care if you had a bad day. They don't care what you're dealing with. They don't care if you can afford it. No, they don't care.
Yeah.
It's just not optional. It's got to do it.
Yeah.
And then lastly, and this is the hardest part, security can't prevent people from doing their job effectively and efficiently. And that's where the wheels fall off.
Well, you know, if it stops people from doing what they want to do, they go around it every time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the issue is choices and consequences, as we always talk about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this report shows us some interesting things about the 3 rules and how things have changed, Tish. Yes, because I always used to say that, you know, IT and cybersecurity, those folks always worried about rules number 1 and 2, and everybody else worried about rule number 3. And that's why we always had problems. That, you know, you had to understand all 3. So, if it wasn't working, it was because all 3 weren't in play. And this report gives us some interesting details.
Yep. So let's dig into it. You got, you know, trends that we'll be talking about, and you know, we'll look at what's up.
Yeah. So this is interesting that this report now has been the 2021 to 2025. So they got we got historical data, sometimes hysterical, but historical. And it's called Behave, Cybersecurity Attitudes and Behaviors. And it's been coming out a while. We've reviewed it multiple years. And the CEO did this really great opening, and I put all of the quote in the notes, but some of the phrases that he used, he said, trends drag the awkward stuff into the light. It's the nobody talks about it. And the security fatalism believing efforts are pointless has nearly doubled in 3 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll talk about that a little bit more. I think
Yeah.
that's worth marinating on a bit when we get to it.
Yeah. And he says, why this isn't for the I'll get to it later pile, we're at a crossroads. And it shows that people aren't apathetic, they're exhausted. They're not ignorant, they're overwhelmed. They're not clueless, they're making rational trade offs in an environment that makes secure behavior feel like the hardest option.
Mm-hmm.
And then so buckle up. This report is big,
Yeah.
sprawling, and occasionally uncomfortable. That is, we're like, well, we've got to cover it if it has occasionally uncomfortable involved. We're in.
Yeah, that's two things I live by. It is interesting that this brings up the word exhausted and overwhelmed. And the reason I'd say that is I've had 2 or 3 different articles and videos I've seen this week that talk about how people who are deep into AI, they are exhausted and overwhelmed. And honestly, some of them are having like mental breakdowns because different reasons, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that AI is moving so fast and everybody that is in that arena feels like literally if you sleep, you will miss something. And if you take a vacation, you will miss something. I don't think people that are outside of that awareness understand just how much is moving and how fast it is. It is unbelievable. And so you literally cannot even learn one thing before 10 more things have either come out or changed. I mean, heck, I put together a presentation right now on an AI tool, and it's 2 weeks from now. I got to do the presentation. I've already had to go back and change it twice because what it could do 2 weeks ago is different. And I can't even get a presentation together to do this.
And people think, we're being dramatic about it, but we've never had that problem doing presentations. You could do things on the fly. But no, it literally changes.
We used to do presentations like a year in advance. Like you'd say, these are the 5 presentations I'm doing this year. Mm-hmm. You could just do the same presentation all year long. Mm-hmm. And you can do that in certain areas, but not AI. If you're going to talk about AI, it's, details, not overviews, but if you're going to get down into the weeds, good luck. I don't understand. I actually had a conversation at the dinner table last night. My stepson is going into cybersecurity, and of course there's some AI courses, and one of the universities has an AI like certificate or something that they're offering. And I started laughing. I was like, how are educational institutions even able to do that? Because it literally changes so fast. Educational institutions can't keep up with changing the curriculum that fast. How do you do it?
So I think that the only thing they can do is talk about the platform, talk about the concepts. If you talk about capabilities, you have to talk about, we may already be doing this, but this is where we're going. And it's going to decide. I mean, that was one of the things in the beginning. We're like, we don't know where this is going because it will tell us. It will come up with things it can do on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it ges creepy.
Yeah.
Well, one of the many ways.
All right. So before we go off the rails on AI, which we often do, let's pull it back on. Let's talk about this report.
Yeah. Okay. So they did hit on the high points in their article about it. But, there's the bottom line is awareness is rising, but behaviors are not changing. And human constraints are the primary barrier. And this is a huge problem. Cybercrime is becoming normalized, and we'll talk about that. And then drops in several important behavior, like password hygiene, use of MFA, patching devices and apps, and phishing defenses. So
here's my thought on that. If awareness is rising, then security awareness training is working. What's not working is the change of behaviors. So security behavior training is not working.
Yeah, we're aware there's a problem. We're just not going to do anything about it.
Right. So if you are aware of something and what you're doing, the behavior is not changing, that means that, I don't know, what does it mean? Learning is not happening? Growth is not happening?
Well,
It's
back to, if it prevents me from feeling productive at work, or I'm in a hurry and I've got to get it done quickly, if it stops any of those things, well, I'm not going to do it. And unfortunately, the bigger point that they really bring up is we've normalized victimhood. So it's not just it's happening more, it's that people think it's inevitable. So why should I try?
Yeah, that's a huge problem, because people feel like, my information is already out there.
Mm-hmm.
My data is already out. It's just, I understand that thinking, but I don't understand it, because it's like, I understand that you're in water that's over your head, but do you stop treading water?
I think that they feel like they're in the water off the Titanic. It's like nobody's coming. I just give up, because it's inevitable that I'm going to lose money. People are going to steal from me. But you would think then that they say, well, I'm going to not be online.
Right. Yeah. That was kind of my next point. Then just get off of it, because then you've reduced your risk to zero. It's like if I'm trying to put this in, real world terms. If I'm in a high crime neighborhood and it's like somebody's going to break into my house, so I'm just going to leave my doors unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do that. It's like somebody might break into my house, so I'm going to have 12 locks on the door. I'm going to have 4 dogs and a shotgun, and monitored by police, and I'm going to do all these things to protect my house, because it could be inevitable. But with cybersecurity, it's the complete opposite, and I think it's because people don't understand the wizardry behind it. So it's like, I don't understand it, and therefore I can't do anything about it.
Well, I think they're more like the car I saw one time that, I had to just stop and take it in. It was a convertible that didn't have a hard top, just a rag top, right?
Right.
And it had duct tape all over it, where they'd taped up where people had cut through the convertible, broke into the car. And it had a sign that says, "There's nothing in here." There's nothing to take. So if you want the car, take it, but there's nothing in here if you're just going to cut the top. And it was just like, all there.
But we can't put that on our networks. Like, you've breached in my network, and the first TXT file you see says there's nothing here. Go away.
Well, but that there could be things in the car. I don't know. But they had just given up and said, I still have the car, and I'm parking it clearly in a spot where people can do this, and I can't do anything about it. So I'm just going to put this sign up that's basically nothing happening here. Move on. And
but even the sign is taking action. Even the sign is something.
It's awareness.
Right? I mean, it's like, at least they're doing something.
Yeah.
In cybersecurity, it could be literally that it's just like, I don't want to do anything. I'm not going to worry about any of the just basic cyber hygiene things, because what's the point? And I don't get that, because it's like, if you can just make it a little difficult, most of the time they'll just move on and shake the door handle on the other car.
Yeah. Well, but see, this gets back to the people's behavior more so than security features in place. So we can make it a little difficult with security features in place that are technical. But if you're just going to get around them, then, so it's like, yeah, we put the security features in place that help. But if you're just going to go around them, why are you putting them there? Right?
Yeah.
And so you're going to remove them over and over. And yes, let's just stop doing that thing. Let's, get a hard top, get a new car, stop parking it there. But instead, very few people are online less than a few times a day. In fact, the vast majority, we're talking like at this point, it was 91% total for 2025, say that they are online, always connected, or at least connected a few times a day. And the ones that are connected a few times a day are probably also always connected. They just don't know it.
They still, I was going to say they're just not aware of it.
But it's like tiny numbers of the ones that say, once per week, a few times per month. I mean, you add them all up. What is it? Less than 10%. So, which would go with the 91%. That's math. Anyway.
Yeah. I think the numbers are actually higher than that because the question is, how frequently do you use the internet? And to your point, most people don't realize they're using it when they don't know they're using it.
That's true.
For me, I'm online 100% of the time. Okay. Because I am using the internet. Things in my house use the internet 24/7. So I think most people are probably like that and they don't realize it. Just your Alexa, for example, is always connected. So you are using the internet 100% of the time. All right. Anyway, move on.
Preach it, brother. All right. So the good news is that at least mostly aware that they're pretty much always online. So then they ask, how many online accounts do you own that hold personal information? And most of them say 2 to 4. And then the next one's 5 to 9. And really, the number should be, not sure, I lost count. I like that one.
I was thinking 2 to 4. Really? I was thinking a lot more than that.
And I think that's part of the problem is you're underestimating how much your data's out there. They really don't know. And then you have the big number of, I feel staying secure online is a priority, frustrating, and intimidating. Wow. So I feel it's a priority.
I think it's all three.
Yeah. And, maybe, I don't know. But, 82% know that it's a priority. And, when you look at it's a priority for most people, it's over time. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's intimidating. It's not convenient. It's not optional. We have to say that all the time. We mutter as we go to get I don't have my MFA. I gotta go get it.
I know. If I'm like in my office and MFA pops up and I'm like, oh man, my phone, it's like in the garage. Oh man. I'm just not even going to work.
I'm just going to quit.
Taking the day off. I'm taking the day off. I ain't going out walking 50 feet to get that.
Yeah, you'll hear us. Security's not convenient going through the house, looking for it. So, but it does confirm that, people understand that it's not convenient and that they'll tolerate that inconvenience only so far. Because they are aware it's not convenient and there's so many threats. They're really aware that, with this fatalistic approach of, I might as well give up. So they know that it really shouldn't be optional. So we've got those two down. They are aware of those two things, which is progress. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. But, I guess my point is maybe a little bit harsh, but my point is, okay, if you've given up, then don't complain when you get breached and it happens and you lose money and you lose all this stuff. Like, I don't want to hear it because you did nothing.
Well, it's not that I did nothing. It's just I skipped it that one time. I'd done everything.
I skipped it that one time.
Just the one time.
That reminds me of the conversation we had before we hit record. I didn't protect myself just one time.
One time. And it's...
And it's life-changing.
I know, it is. It truly is. And, you always hear that. Carla always tells the story of the phishing test she falls for. Both times she fell for when the social engineering and the phishing was involved vacation. And she fell for them because she was going on vacation, or not doing work, and kind of got out of that mindset and then checked work messages. And so it's like, I just did that one time. Anyway, it's adult topics. And
it's just the tip.
Stop it. So security must not prevent people from doing their job. Rule number 3 is always the hardest one to address, because that's what happens. We have struggled to get people on the same page with rules 1 and 2. Great.
Yeah.
And I've always said IT does 1 and 2 and everybody else worries about 3. Everybody's got to get on the same page. Well, guess what, IT? We've got to find ways to make this more functional. And because this is good, though. I mean, they say, I feel that staying secure online is achievable, possible, and under my control. So they believe it's reasonable to try to do it. And what is it? 74% say it's possible, which is the highest it's ever been.
A huge jump. Last year it was 53%.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah. So they know it's probably possible. Now, here's where the divide starts, because they ask about it is who's responsible for protecting your information. And for the first time, it's like...
Not me. Not me.
But, my own stuff, it's on me. And I think that's the 74% jump. They start to realize that we have started, finally, the message is, in my personal information, it's on me. But I am not primarily responsible when it gets to workplace information, because guess what? Even more so, they believe that it's the IT department and the cybersecurity people first and foremost, then me. So it gets back to not connecting the behavior, I just skipped it that one time, is the failure. Right. And that's where that gap is. But the skipping it one time, they're like, look, I follow the rules almost always. It's kind of like saying I almost always follow the speed limit, but the one time I was speeding, that's when I got caught. And it's not, I'm sure that happens. I don't know about the speeding thing. I mean, I guess maybe. But... what really concerned me, it was many ways, is everybody wants IT and cybersecurity to solve the problem in the workplace, right? I just want you to make it where I can't screw up.
We can do that, but you can't do your job either.
Yeah, because you don't like that part either. So it's that balance of, you need me to solve it, but I don't need to be like the primary responsible for making sure I follow the rules. And that balance now is, let's focus on that, is what we're finally there. That's good news. However, how do we focus on that? Number one. So that scares me, is how do we get there? But number 2, if everybody thinks it's the IT and security team, what if you don't have an IT and security team?
Yeah. We talk about this often, but everybody is on the security team. Everybody. And this is definitely one of the places where they want to feel like, well, I don't understand it, and I don't understand cybersecurity, and therefore I can't do anything about it, which is not true, because there's a bigger chance that you're going to get social engineered than anything else. And so you are the best defender for yourself.
Uh-huh. And if you're defending yourself, you're also defending the organization. So, yes.
Yeah. And those behaviors go with you. Like, the IT department at work can't protect you at home, but your understanding and awareness of your behaviors and attitudes toward cybersecurity can go with you home and protect you there as well.
And we would like for that to happen. So,
yes, please.
So then let's talk about it. Okay, well, is it the training problem? Well, that doesn't appear that, if what you're doing isn't working, continuing to do it over and over, hoping it will work, is the definition of insanity, right? You've heard that saying. Well, apparently what's been being done is not working. We now know that. And they ask, how often are you required to complete training for cybersecurity? Vast majority said, once a year, more than once a year. Those are equal, right? 35. But when something goes wrong or something bad happens, still 17%, and both at regular intervals, and when something goes wrong or something bad happens, 13%. So it's kind of scattered out.
Which, well, not just that, but the lowest score is the answer of both at regular intervals and when something happens. That should be the highest score. Yep. It should be both at regular intervals and when something bad happens, but it's not.
Mm-hmm. So the regular intervals shouldn't be once a year.
Yeah.
Because,
So, and again, this goes back to a report we looked at a while back where it was like security awareness training doesn't work at all. And then when you read it, it's because it's only being required once a year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all in the same organization. So it's like, that's not my definition of security awareness training. That's my definition of checking a box.
Well, and that's what they say, that there's studies they've done that show that annual training, any gain from annual training, apparently about anything, not just cybersecurity, they fade. The gain you may have fades within 6 months and no real value in the long term. And then there was this quote in the report. This evolution may reflect a growing recognition that the traditional once a year generic training approach has no or limited long-term impact on behavior change and risk reduction, as demonstrated by numerous research in the field. Now, okay. We've said that.
Yeah, for 550 some episodes. We've said it.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we have a weekly podcast. Otherwise, we would just have an annual podcast.
Oh my God, we only had to do like 10. Time to do number 11. That's a good point. All right. So, they're getting into, okay, let's talk about why this doesn't work. And, there's some people about what's the main reason you didn't use the opportunity to attend a cybersecurity training course. And we tell you there's free things available all over the place. So it's not a money thing, but you know what it is? It's a time thing.
I'm going to push back against that. It is not a time thing. It is a priority thing.
Yes. Which is what we always bring up is when somebody says, I hate that. Well, I didn't have time to do that. No, you made the choice to do something else for whatever reason. It may have been you were forced to. It may have been you could, but it was, I could not allocate the time to do it. I had other priorities. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a friend of mine years ago, and he used to say this all the time. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. And he ended up finding out that he had a type of cancer. And so he had to start going to all these appointments and chemo and all this other stuff. And I remember talking to him and I was like, dude, before all this, you were talking about how you didn't have time for everything. How are you fitting this in? He's like, what do you mean, how am I fitting it in? Like, I don't have an option.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do these things. I'm like, so you have time to do them? He's like, well, I have to make time to do them. Like, it's that or die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so it wasn't a time issue then.
Yeah, it's what you learn then. It is absolutely what you learn. It's not I don't have time for this. It is, this is not a priority to me.
Right.
So we know that when it comes to behavior. And the motivation then to make it a priority, but we're in healthcare and the doctors will tell you every time, there are very few people that go to their physical and the doctor goes, you're great. You don't need to do anything. And it's like, well, I don't have time for this. I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do it. Just say it. And that's the big thing. And that's where I think it's the second highest one. So I don't have time was 21%, and that number has dropped consistently. But the thing that keeps going up is I don't think the training will reduce my risk of being a victim of crime. And then the other thing that rose so in 2022, cybersecurity isn't important to me was 6%. Okay. In 2025, one would think that number had gone down. Instead, that number of cybersecurity isn't important to me is now up to 17%.
Yeah, but wasn't one of the other questions about, where's that? Oh, a priority. Yeah, here you go. I feel that staying secure online is a priority. That's 82%.
Yep.
But but then when the question's rephrased, it isn't important to you.
Well, I think that change correlates to the people that used to say they don't have time, and now they're just saying it's not important enough for me to make time.
Or do they not understand that security online and cybersecurity are the same? Is it two different things to them?
It could be. Could be. That's a fair question. We'll have to ask them if they ask. I didn't go into the details. They provided. I hadn't done the nerdy part. We're looking at I wasn't able to access the course online or in person. That's at 10%. That's dropped, but I mean, it's never been more than 13. I already know enough about cybersecurity. That's the one that scares the out of me because what I do love.
I already know enough.
What I do like is that used to be 25%. In 2022, the answer that I already know enough about cybersecurity was at 25%. At least it's down to 16 now. Yeah.
Well, it fluctuates, but yeah. Well, I think the answer, I wasn't able to access the course. To me, I don't know about you, but it jumped out to me that it said the course. Yeah. So not courses, the course.
Yeah, maybe based on the numbers, it looks like they probably let them do more than one. I don't know. But the bottom line here is all of the reasons that you didn't use the opportunity to do it. And all of them, basically it's, I don't have time. I don't think it would help, or it's not important enough for me to allocate. I wouldn't gain anything from it, and I already know enough. Those are it.
Okay, so let's look at this figure 20 here, because this is what I'm interested in. For those that actually did attend cybersecurity training, how did it influence their security behaviors? To me, this is the question to ask.
Right, because we need the behavior change, and we've talked about this multiple times. Probably the last time we did the report is how do we get the behavior change? How do we get the behavior change? Yeah. Go ahead, hit it.
Yeah.
Go through it.
Well, okay. So one of the options was I started using MFA or 2FA. That went down from last year.
Mm-hmm.
It went down from 46% to 42%. That does not make me feel good.
Well, it too is fluctuating. It's up, down, up, down. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, here's one. I became better at recognizing and reporting phishing messages. That dropped also.
That one's way down.
That dropped from 52 to 47%. And the highest it was at 58% was back in 2022. So not good. Next one is I started saving passwords using a password manager. That stayed the same.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's the only good news. I started regularly installing the latest software and app updates. That actually went up a few points. It went up from 35% to 38%. I started using a strong and separate passwords. It dropped. Dropped a percentage point from 41 to 40%. I started backing up my data. That actually increased. It increased from 26 to 28%. But it did dip. That's not the highest it's been. I didn't change any of my online behaviors. Was 4%. So there's your know-it-alls. And that's 4% last year and 4% this year. So the same people still know it all. And then the last one here, I already do all the things, so I didn't change anything. This is the one where you want to see that number drop, and it did. It dropped from 11% to 7%. Mm-hmm. It says they already know how to do everything, and they're already doing it right, and they didn't change anything.
Yeah. So here's the thing that you go back to I became better at recognizing and reporting phishing. That drop. That's when I ask on my assessments, when we ask, do you have security awareness training? The number of times the answer is regular phishing training.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all the security awareness training. We do regular phishing training or annual phishing training. So I became better at recognizing and reporting phishing messages. We had that big 58% in 2022 because that's when people finally made that just like a regular thing. But it shows you that training is becoming less and less effective because it's not changing. And I remember the report or the study that we learned about when I was out in San Diego at UC San Diego, and where they had done an evaluation on the phishing testing, and it really made no difference unless you change the messages to be about them. You know, if you weren't directing it at them, not very general, but here's the information about the new vacation policy. You know, here's the form you need to fill out to update your taxes. Those kinds of things. If it didn't go direct to them, they were really good at missing it. But you really want to, they had great numbers. But then there's a giant spike the minute that you target them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing I like about our phishing training is that when somebody fails and they click on a phishing, it actually takes them into a training session of the email they got and says, this is the email you just received and this is what you missed. So it's not like, oh, you failed the training. Let's talk about in general what phishing is. It's no, let's look at this exact failure and what you missed so that you understand what to look for and how it can potentially show up in a phishing email. So I like that a lot better. It's a much better teaching moment.
Yeah, but we have to also make it more social engineering geared than just your spray and pray phishing. And so I think there's a lot to come about there of, is that training, by far, it's the behavior that has consistently remained top as far as the behavior that's changed. I'm better at doing this. But, the overall other behaviors, guess what? The thing we are consistently seeing people do, phishing training,
Mhm.
that's where they think their behavior is changing. But the things that we don't consistently reiterate to them, none of those are really changing.
Yep.
So
No surprise there, really.
no, I thought it's what we've been saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the researchers, when they were looking at everything, they said that bottom line is it's not a knowledge issue anymore. People are aware. It's a
Mhm.
behavior issue, and due to fatigue, overload, and here's the big problem: competing priorities and workflow pressure. Those are the problems. That's why rule number 3 is not working out.
Yep. And I think that some of this falls into the arena of what the outcome of some of the AI things are. And we won't dive deep into it, but if you look at it, when an organization or a person is even using AI, they're not freeing up their time. They're just able to do more. And because they're able to do more, they do more.
Mhm.
And so it creates overload and fatigue, competing priorities, and workflow pressure. That is the outcome so far of what we're starting to see of the ability to use AI to do more with less. We're seeing all 4 of these things. And I think this is playing out. I don't know that everybody's necessarily connecting the dots yet on some of these, but for those people who are doing this type of research, they're seeing this. That the organizations and people that are utilizing AI effectively, they're seeing where they're not working less, they're working more. They're not doing, it's not like AI is doing 4 hours worth of my work in an hour. So now I got 3 hours. I can, go out and do community service. That's
No.
not happening.
And the reason is it's because, we're just going to cut the workforce, because now instead of saying, yeah, we'll not have these intense work requirements, and again, it's the workflow that it mentions, the workflow pressure.
Mhm.
And it is the constant issue of we have to squeeze every last drop of productivity out of each individual so that we don't have to hire another individual. And that's been our approach.
Mhm.
And in healthcare, people's lives are involved.
Yeah.
It's a problem. And yeah.
And you've got human in the loop, which is what I believe you should have. So let's say I'm managing multiple agents or multiple platforms. The AI platforms, they don't have a cost to task switching. They can multitask, and they can multitask instantaneously. A human can't do that, but we're being asked to manage that. So manage the unmanageable is what we're being asked to do with these.
I hadn't thought of it that way. You manage the thing we know you can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, the human can't be in the loop if the human can't keep up with what the loop's doing.
Yeah. Here we go, loop-de-loop.
Yuck, 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 yuck. So but the bottom line is it's the same thing though that we run into. I always talk about that when we do the site visits, I'm able to get into places that I shouldn't, not because people are malicious or I'm even being malicious. I'm being nice and people are being nice. That's it. So if security slows you down, people will bypass it. And it's not because I am not doing anything you just trained me to do. It's not they're being 3-year-olds. Or, the terrible 2s and 3. We're not out.
You can't tell me to not to click on this link. I'll show you.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some cases of it, but it's not malicious. It's just practical. They're trying to survive, get their job done so they can go do the other things that are outside of work. or they can go treat that patient that's binging on the thing, or I got to get these meds, or I got, 5 patients all at the front desk all at the same time. It's being able to manage what's happening in their environment is preventing the behavior, not the knowledge of the need for the behavior.
Right.
So we got that balance problem. We've got to find that balance. So,
all righty.
There you go. Do we have the answer, David? No, we don't.
I'm going to go ask AI about it.
I think you're right. Let's go have a chat. Let's ask them all. I like to do that. Ask them all. Here's the same prompt for everybody. Have a conversation and then see what I get at. Let's do that.
Yeah. If you really want to have fun with it, when you get the answer of one, you tell the other one, but this is what they say. What do you think?
It's so much fun. I love doing that.
All right, folks, that is our show for today. Now that you know what you didn't know, now you can be held accountable for what you used to not know.
And now you're not a nobody because you're somebody.
Yeah, because nobody talks about it. I don't know. Maybe that makes you a nobody because nobody talks about it.
So now are we nobodies or are we somebodies?
We're nobodies.
Yeah, that's where we started.
We're somebodies who know nothing about nobodies. I don't know. Anyway, have a great extra week. Join us again next week. Until then, remember, for Donna and myself, the HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.